Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Go there, use the audio button at the top of the screen to send us an audio message. Also, while you're there, pick yourself up a brand new Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt. Yeah. Okay, so hope everybody's having a good Monday. Sorry, I have to adjust this mic. I don't know why the mic is the way it is today, whatever. You know, it's very frustrating dealing with you as a listener. You know that? You're a pain in the asshole. It's very true. Okay, anyway. Good morning, everybody, on this Monday. I hope everybody is having a fantastic start to their week so far. I am meeting a contractor this morning, so as you're listening to this, driving down the road in the car, I'll be meeting with my retaining wall grading contractor. He was supposed to actually start work today, but instead is just coming out to do a walkthrough, which is fine. I understand scheduling issues and things like that happen. I do. And that's, you know, it's part of being self-employed. It's part of being in business. It's part of having a life. It's all part of that. However, I am so amped up to get this project up and running and off the ground and going. It's not even funny. So it's really hard for me to, as somebody who was self-employed and knowing that customers were never sympathetic to my needs. Like I've had customers, man, that have asked me to stay at the shop till fucking 2 a.m. to get a project done that they needed in the morning just to try to shaft me on the bill. I've had people literally ask me for services and then the services are completed and then them pull some shit like, oh, I said I didn't want you to do that. I'm not paying for that. It's like, no, you literally had said this. And I literally said there was a charge for it and you literally agreed to it. And it's always on some piddly bullshit job where you don't make a lot of money. So you're like, nah, it's only, a few $100s. Why would I write up a contract for this? And it's people know that and they take advantage. So on one hand, I'm like, I want to be sympathetic to these business owners' needs because I get it. Not everything works out the way you want it to. But at the same time, as somebody who was a self-employed person, owned my own business and never got any sort of a break or leeway from any customer out there, it's kind of like, well, that's a you problem thing. But I'm flexible, man. I want to get this stuff done, but at the same time, I don't want to run off a contractor either because I'm being a little impatient or something of the sort. So there's a lot of things circulating around in the media and on social media about what's going on with the war in Iran. I don't want this to become a subject on this show that we are just beating to death and never letting up on. I don't like to do that. I don't like to stay on one topic forever because it's hot and it's fresh and people are excited about it. So they're going to download and listen to it. I don't like doing that. I walk to the beat of my own drum, not what is in the media. But I did see some things that really kind of threw up some alarm bells. We're going to get into that in the show this morning. There are things that are taking place in the media right now that are big stressors for me. Not like, oh my God, I'm over here biting my nails and freaking out and I can't handle life because of what I'm seeing in the media. Stressors, as in stressors and indicators of what's coming next and things that I'm growing more concerned about with what I'm seeing in the media. Now, I don't care what anybody out there tells you. You're never too old to have a mentor. You're never too old to have people that are smarter than you in your circle and people that have more life experience around you. I got a couple of them in my life. Producer Scooter being one of them. And I don't know what exactly he's doing with that rubber chicken. Would you put that down? Thank you. You're making me uncomfortable. I don't know. Take it out of the peanut butter jar. Thank you. Okay. So it's okay to have a mentor. It's okay to have somebody that knows more than you to go to them for advice and question them about things, especially when your mentors are like former military guys Okay. And one of my mentors was telling me that this war is not going to last and it's going to be very quick and done and over. However, I'm starting to see things kind of transition into a different direction. And I'm thinking maybe what I was informed of and maybe what I was told, wasn't necessarily something I should have taken at face value based on what I'm seeing now. Okay. And we'll get more into it in the show. But just know that we're not going to spend too much time we're not going to spend days and days and days beating up this war. I don't want to do it. You as the listener probably don't want to listen to it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you turn right now. I mean, I'm sure everybody's just over it already. But that doesn't mean you should ignore what's going on. Okay. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine was filled with classes that I actually enjoyed. Had to work. I had some fire classes to attend, and it was good. It was a good weekend. I had somebody ask me what my work schedule is, and I'm like, I don't know. It's because I really don't know anymore. Our schedule, the way it's made up, if you're on the schedule how I am as a part-timer, it's very few and far between you get to work. The days are sporadic, and you don't get notifications until like the week of. So planning anything around work days is just impossible. So somebody asked me that, and I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, Producer Scooter here. First off, thank you for downloading and participating in the wide world of Jester Doom. Please be sure to check out JestersVoice.com website. Everything you want to know is located on JestersVoice.com. If you're looking for salacious details, it's on JestersVoice.com. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and even with all your enemies. And now, back to the musings of Jester Doom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Everywhere on social media, @JesterDooms. Buy a t-shirt while you're on the website. Okay? Good. All right. Give me that 1 week IRL where you tell a friend, family member, or coworker about the Doom Daily Show. That would be great. Thank you. Much appreciated. All right. Now, okay, the alarm bells that are going off with this Iranian conflict. Okay. So the Straits are still the big topic of discussion. Iran is basically saying, we're going to stop everything. Watch and see what happens. The U.S. is saying that they're going to go ahead and strike Iran's energy infrastructure. Okay. Basically. And, in that sector, that means so many different things when they talk about, hitting their energy independence, because that could mean grids, that could mean facilities where they're producing petroleum byproduct. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. Okay. And basically, I think that we're going to start hitting them in the pocket, if that makes sense, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Now, this raised alarm bells to me because, like I've stated on previous episodes, this is going to make the cost of everything skyrocket. All right. In a world where everything is already so damn expensive. I don't think for a second that, how can I put this? I don't think for a second that we are going to see this end anytime soon. I was told this was going to be a very quick conflict and it was going to be over. And then something else that I caught wind of, I think yesterday, was the old Doomsday plane. All right. And this plane, just to put it very simple, it's a giant Boeing plane. Okay. It's known as the Air Force's Boeing E-4B Night Watch. And it's basically a modified Boeing 747. Okay. Now, it's basically an Air Force command center in the air that is, it's meant to withstand some shit. Okay. Specifically like EMPs. All right. And cost a shit ton of taxpayer money to operate, approximately $160,000 per hour. Now, this aircraft can also stay in the air for days, okay? So it's also been dubbed like the flying war room. Now, this gets deployed whenever shit could really hit the fan, such as nuclear war. Now, there's been recent sightings of this aircraft, and apparently this plane hasn't been to this part of the world in a long time. And this isn't a newer thing, ladies and gentlemen. This plane, it's been around for a while. Okay, it was developed in the 70s and deployed in the late 90s. So this isn't something that like we just rolled out and, and they've been out flying around. Like, no. We've had them, they've been out, but they don't really get used unless there is some sort of a gigantic crisis or something happening. Now, if you are deploying this aircraft in this sort of capacity, somebody has nuclear war on their radar. That's somebody's alarm bells are going off in that realm if they're deploying this aircraft, I would think. And when I caught wind of this and I saw the recent news articles and stuff about this aircraft actually being deployed and there's sightings of it and it's going out and it's doing things, it's like, well, what is coming next? Are they worried that somebody over there is going to drop a nuke and they're just wanting to be up there to monitor the situation and see what goes on? Are they worried? Are they thinking we're going to drop a nuke? Like that's the concern. And the big threat with the nuclear war isn't necessarily, dropping one nuke. It's what happens after the fact. Okay. Are we going to drop one and then someone else is going to drop one and we're going to get into a catastrophic nuclear holocaust? That's what the thought is. And that's what like everybody thinks. Like your average individual that has no knowledge of anything thinks that, when one nuke goes off, they're all going to start fucking going off. And it's like, no, that's not necessarily the case. Like we dropped 2 on Japan and no more went off. Okay. We made a point. We proved a point. We were done. They said, all right, we're done. It's over. So these will be used as a show of force, if anything. And just kind of going back and forth, thinking about, the what ifs and the outcomes and everything else. I do honestly think that this war is going to escalate. I really do. I don't think, I've heard people say it's going to be a week. It's going to be 30 days. We're going to be out of there. Like I've heard people saying all these things, but it's like they're very relentless and they're not wanting to stop. And you have other countries getting involved and we don't control what all these other countries are doing. So what is going to be the reaction? Let's say that I think one of the articles we talked about on the show was the idea that like France is getting involved and there's these other countries getting involved. What happens if they decide to strike French soil? Then what escalates from there? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the chain reaction of what could be coming down the pipeline with this conflict it's kind of endless. There's so many different scenarios that I could think of. And each one could have a very catastrophic outcome. Now, usually when we're watching this stuff on TV, we're sitting over here nice and safe and happy in America and we're not having anything to worry about. But you gotta think, man, we've been not fucked with for far too long for nothing bad to happen here soon. Okay. 9/11 was in 2001. Okay. 25 years ago. All right. Before that, we had a lot of tragic things take place on the soil back in the early 90s. The Oklahoma City bombing is a big one that sticks out. All right. Big domestic terror situation on U.S. soil. But now we're looking at this and, it's like we haven't had a major incident take place on the soil since my kids have been born. Like they've never seen a conflict. They've never been scared sitting at home thinking, shit, are we next? What's coming next? Like I remember watching the Oklahoma City bombing. I remember watching the plane strike the towers. I remember the newspaper articles of, the policeman carrying the baby to the firefighter who was taking a break from searching through the rubble of the Oklahoma City bombing. Like I remember these things, man. They stick out very vividly. And it just, the thing that has my alarm bells going off is it's been too quiet here for too damn long. And we've had say what you want, but we've had some really piss poor leaders over this nation for the last couple of decades. All right. And we've demonstrated that we've been very soft in certain capacities. So I think it would be a very wise thing to do to get your ducks in a row and start honestly looking at the signs that are out there. Okay. And when I say looking at the signs that are out there, I'm saying get out of the mainstream media, start looking at a little bit of alternative news and see what people are saying and see what's going on out there. The mainstream media keeps a facade. They keep a blanket over your eyes. They don't want you to see what's actually going on. They want you to see what they want you to see, what's bringing in ratings. Ratings don't the news company's ratings does not increase your chances of survival in a bad situation. Okay, it doesn't. Now, we know that the cost of goods is going to drastically increase. We've been talking about it. If there are things you use in excess and that you need on a daily basis, just spend the extra money and get them now. Like if you're a household that goes through a case of toilet paper a week, just get a few extras because you're going to fucking need them. Put a couple away, right? If you're a household that goes through a shit ton of larger detergent, get some extra, put it away because you're about to see a hike of this. You're about to see all this shit increase. Gas has already went up and diesel's already went up, which means everything else is going up. Diesel's well over $5 a gallon now in my area anyway, okay? One of the benefits of listening to the show is that you're talking to somebody who prepares for the worst of scenarios. So even though this isn't like a prep or survivalist show, it's hard for me not to go back to the basics sometimes and see the writing on the wall. My brain is just fucking wired that way. That's it. It is just hardwired to see these worst case scenarios and how to prepare for them. And like I said, right now, there's alarm bells going off left and right all over the place. And everything is telling me like and this is what it's boiling down to. Everything's telling me we're going to see an attack on U.S. soil. It's going to happen very freaking soon. Okay. Like that's what just the signs are telling me. It's been too quiet for too long. It's coming. We suspected it during the pandemic. Didn't happen. Do yourselves a favor. Buy a little bit of extra stuff that you know you're going to use in excess. If you get that eerie feeling before it's time to attend a sports game or go somewhere you wouldn't normally go where there's a large crowd of people, things like that. If you start getting that eerie feeling, just stay the fuck home. And we all know that feeling, that like anxious butterfly in your stomach, like everything's moving fast and slow at the same time. Like we all know that feeling, like something's not quite right. And we usually get that feeling like the day we get into a car wreck or we get fired from our job or whatever the case may be. Like we all know that feeling that I speak of. Listen to that feeling. Okay. Just do it. Just go with your gut feeling on some of these situations where it's time to go out, large crowds of people, big events, things like this. Now, in recent years, and I think this is so funny, in recent years, the concerns of terror have went way down. Back in the early 2000s, terrorism was a word everybody used and everybody was terrified and, oh, terrorism. Like that was all you heard. And they were always worried about the sporting events like, the Super Bowl or big games, things like this. I don't know where they were getting their intel from that these were going to be targeted areas, but it's like I can't think of a time in history where we had a sporting event attack. The only thing I could think that's similar would be the Stephen Paddock shooting in Vegas. But that was a shooting. That wasn't, explosives or planes or bombs. Like, no. That was, to Airfinger's quote, a lone gunman, if you want to believe that. But nevertheless, if you get that gut feeling, stay home. I feel like a big shit show is coming. And then the other reason I feel this too, okay, is because now look, you guys out there, if you listen to the show long enough, I'm not red or blue. I'm like somewhere oddly in the middle, and I don't like the government having as much control over everything that they do. Okay. And I've stated this on the show numerous times. There are things that the government should not have any fucking thing to do with. There are things that the government has control with over your life that they should not have any control with at whatsoever at all. All right. And it's a big facade, man. Again, if me and you are rats, we're fighting over the cheese. We're not looking at the person that's handing us the cheese. It's me or you for the cheese. Okay. With that being said, you do have Trump really shaking things the fuck up, and he has been. Okay. And what I find to be really bizarre, I guess, it's his first term. All you heard was impeachment, and everybody was losing their goddamn minds, and no one would shut up about it. And it just continued basically till his last day in office. Now that he's back in, you still hear things, but I don't see anything like what I saw before. Like nothing, none of it. It is way too quiet, and he is rocking the fucking boat hard. Now, we all know that there are different news media outlets out there that want to basically crucify this man, and all their blind sheeple kind of go right along with it, and they run their mouths. And I haven't seen any of it. Like, I haven't seen, I mean, I've seen the news and stuff, but I haven't seen the people. Like, I haven't seen as many people speaking out against him like I did during his first term. But also, I haven't seen as many government officials, standing up and speaking out and, crying impeachment and all these things as well. It hasn't been as bad. I'm not saying it's not happening. It's just not as prevalent as it was. And maybe it's because they know something we don't. Maybe the higher ups and the powers to be know something is coming. Maybe they do. And they're like, fuck it, that shit's not going to matter anyway, because bloody, blah, this is about to happen, so fuck it. Like, maybe that's what's going on. And we're all just, over here worried about the war and the price of gas, and we're all just over here kind of losing our shit, not thinking about what could be coming down the pipeline, and that's what I'm looking at. What the fuck is on its way? 2026 was definitely off to a bang. Okay, remember, we're still in the first quarter, man, It's just like we're still in the first quarter of the game and we've seen all this shit. And I hate to say this, but I mean, guys, shooting season's coming. That's right around the damn corner. All right. April is the darkest month in history. It's right around the fucking corner. Okay. That's when we see all these horrible things take place. So just hold on to your hats, man. I think we're in for a very rocky road moving forward here in the next few months. It's got me really concerned about traveling this year, okay? Mainly because it's going to be so close to where the conflict is taking place. And, I was talking to my wife about it, like, are we still going? Are we not going, et cetera? And it's kind of like, well, we're going to know when it gets closer. Because there is the idea you go on vacation and you can't get back. Like, something happens, all flights are grounded, and you're stuck there for an extra month. And I'm not trying to have that happen. So I don't know. We're being very cautious. We're trying to plan things very, I guess you could say, very methodically about what we're doing this year moving forward. But I'm also like on this token of, shit could get really bad. So we might as well just have fun now before it does, kind of a situation. So I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And ladies and gentlemen, just look, for me, if you're only watching one news media outlet or if you only listen to the show, start broadening your horizons and start looking at what other people are saying and what other people are doing. Keep your eyes peeled and your head on a swivel, because I definitely think more shit's coming. And I know there's people out there that are going to say, oh, you're fear mongering or you can't listen to this guy or whatever. But when we do this show, how often am I wrong? That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, your code word of the week is denial. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. We would greatly appreciate it. We will be back here tomorrow on Tuesday for another exciting episode of the Doom Daily Show. Producer Scooter, sir, if you would hit that button.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.